Chief Duane, thank you for, oh my goodness, this conversation that we're about to have today. And we are super, super excited because there's so much that's happened since we last spoke a few months back.
Yeah.
And again, like all things, we want to hear directly from you because, as you know, the media storm around the decision that the family made about this piece of property caused a lot of chatter on Twitter and on all the social media networks. But we want to have a really candid conversation with you about really what happened and what's going down now and why you made the decision you made as a family. So we'd love to hear from you.
Well,
yes.
Well, I didn't make the decision. Since the land's been transferred, I have not been in the loop, so to speak, because now I did my job, and that was to get the land, help get the land back to the heirs, along with other people, in a group of folks of us that donated our time to help them get their land back. Once they got their land back, it's pretty much their baby. The deal that they got was always on the table. This was no surprise. When the land was eventually transferred to them and they took the lease agreement, that was one of a few deals that were on the table on how they could actually retrieve the land or reparations or for restitution of what happened to them and their family. They tried the lease. The lease was only $400,000 for the entire year between four of the heirs for the land. There are no other heirs except those four men. Okay. Any woman that's saying she's an heir or whatever the case may be, it's just not true. Okay. And I've got family members that are going around saying that they're the heirs and they're not. These people were Bruces, but they're not related directly to our line of Bruces in our family. These people originated from Antigua, and they were free blacks in Washington, D.C. Before the Civil War. So I just wanted to clarify that. So they made the deal. There were several deals on the table. And I can't remember all of them, but I know that the $20 million was there because that's what the land was appraised for. We had the lease deal, and that was the one they took first. Was the lease. I think it was for 4 years or something like that, unless they decided they wanted to sell after 6 months of being in the lease deal. The lease was it was $400,000 a year for four people. But, they had taxes they had to pay, property taxes they had to pay, maintenance on the building. They are now the landlords, maintenance on the land and the building. There were a number of things. Plus, they live out of the city, so they had to have a property management team come in and manage the property, as well as the people that are helping them manage the money. And then they had income tax as well, not just property tax. They had transfer tax. And so by the time they got through doing anything, they really didn't have anything else. It was less than living wage that each one of them were going to have left over. There was no way that they were building any type of generational wealth like that. During the course of the negotiations, which only included the heirs, myself, and the attorney, as well as legal counsel for LA County, all these other people making comments about what they think should have happened and what should be and all that kind of stuff, they weren't there. These negotiations were excruciating for quite a while. Several months of negotiations back and forth, trying to find out trying to eliminate all the people that were laying claims that they were heirs. 104 people. We had to fight a suit from a nut in Palos Verdes who said that if the land was transferred back to the Bruces, that it would cause him irreparable harm. We won that case. We didn't have to pay any legal fees for that. And he agreed not to try and appeal the case if we didn't try to get legal fees from him. If he had appealed, it would have set the transfer back years maybe. So he decided that he would leave us alone and allow the transfer to go through. We had to again appraise the property properly. The state appraised the property. The county, who the county assessor anyway, assessed the property, and our attorneys, they assessed the property as well. Everybody agreed that $20 million, $10 million per lot, because what the misunderstanding was, and when they said $80 million or $87 million or all these other numbers that were flying around when we were trying to get the land before any appraisals have been done, that was for the entire park. And so people thought that because the plaque was at the top of the park, they thought that the entire park was Bruce Beach. It's only two little lots down there at the corner, the left, when you look down the hill on the left-hand corner where the lifeguard training station is. There's two little lots that are, number one, designated industrial. So they're not commercial. You can't rent them, or so it didn't have a commercial evaluation to it or valuation to it, and it wasn't residential. It didn't have a residential valuation to it, even though it's in the middle of areas that are. So the property was only valued at $10 million per lot. That's it. We agreed to that. That was it. So after struggling to work with the $400,000 for the year, the family said, we just can't do this, and talking with their other financial advisors and with their attorneys, they decided they needed to sell because there were covenants on the land that Manhattan Beach still had, even though the land had been transferred back to the Bruces. The covenant said that they could not. First of all, they tried to sue. This man was trying to sue. This attorney in Palos Verdes tried to sue us, saying that the state of California could not transfer public land back to private individuals. Well, the land was stolen from private individuals. And so we're not talking about a transfer. We're talking about retrieving stolen property. And that's what we prevailed on. We got back stolen property. So that was one of the issues. Manhattan Beach still says in their covenant that land can only be used for public purposes. It has to remain a public beach. The land is still in Manhattan Beach. Even though we got it back, we still have to abide by the principles and laws and statutes of that municipality. So therefore, they were unable to do anything with that land except keep bleeding, okay, and possibly start going into their personal pockets to take care of that property as values of their various services and taxes went up. So only thing, so the most intelligent thing they could do, I hope the world is listening, is sell that property, get out from under those covenants, get their $20 million, buy land somewhere else, and continue to build their generational wealth. And I stress their, not ours, their generational wealth. It's their decision. It's their property. They fought for it. They waited 100 years. Nobody else has got anything else to say but good for you.
Whoa. That is a story, and that is exactly why we wanted to hear this from you, because a lot of people tend to not understand what it means when you take ownership of property in general.
No.
They don't understand the money involved, the maintenance involved, what that entails. And you're also sharing with us that they had a limited way of even generating that income. They couldn't open up the hotel that they had all those years ago.
No.
They couldn't do that. They couldn't make a commercial, couldn't do that. So there were so many limitations to even having the property. You still had to abide by the covenants. So in a way, you obtain this land, but you're still told what you can't do with it.
Yes.
So this is incredible story. Incredible story.
People got to understand, there's still racists in Manhattan Beach now. These people have already gone through the process of being racially discriminated against and terrorized by right-wing terrorist groups who still reside in Manhattan Beach. Okay. Kavon Ward, who was one of the people that helped to get this property back, was threatened by those people. She had to move out of Manhattan Beach. I don't know if she's told people that, but that was the case.
Oh, yeah.
And the first organization that, anti-racist in Manhattan Beach, they were the first ones to bring light to it during the COVID during the COVID issue of George Floyd, during the George Floyd protests in 2020, and Kevon Ward was a part of that organization. That's why that organization broke up, because of the threats from the white wing white folks there that didn't want this to happen. So these people aren't, I mean, they're very visible. You know, they're the only blacks that own any property down there on the Strand. Moving back there would just put a target on their back. So I mean, who wants to do that? You know, unless you're an activist like myself, I'd move right down there. You know,
right.
And
they're just now.
Huh?
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, and they're just now offering a formal apology. I read too.
Oh no, I haven't heard about any no formal apology. I don't think there's no formal apology. I think the mayor, Napolitano, he offered an apology.
Yes. Yeah, yes, that's who I was referring to. Yes.
On behalf of Manhattan Beach. They're never going to do that, because they know if they do that, it's an admission of guilt, and we're going to roll right in there, and we're going to take every dime they got. So, and then they built this. They created a whole new plaque. You know, when we got to transfer the land, we had a plaque installed down there with the truth on it, down there on the Strand there where the land is. And I would encourage people to go down there, and they have a QR code where you can find out get the whole history of the Bruce Beach issue, all the way down to when we got the land back. It's right down there on the Strand. So Manhattan Beach here on the back end of everything decides they want to change the plaque, the lying plaque that they had up there. So they did a whole new installation, spent $350,000 or whatever the case whatever they spent. It was money they should have been offering the family. First of all,
that's deep.
Right.
That's deep.
You know, creating some edifice for somebody to, you know, look at or sit around, and then it turns out that they disrespected the other families that had land there by some statement that they made on the plaque. So now they're going to have to go back and change that statement, I believe. So so there was no formal apology. They're never going to give one. Like I said before, they're the Keystone Cops of municipalities. They're as dumb as rocks. You know, no matter what they do, they always come back up racist and inept in trying to rectify what has done or try to clean up their persona in the public eye and in the media, in the eye of the media, on what they really are. In fact.
Absolutely.
Wow. It's a lot of lessons to learn from this whole thing. If I could ask you, what lessons have you learned thus far about this whole matter, personally?
Never give up. Keep the faith, as Adam Clayton Powell used to say. You know, you have to not have fear of these racist cowards. These people that are racist, first of all, are mentally ill. Any human being walking around this earth to think that they're better than someone else is mentally ill. They should be institutionalized, really, off the streets. As you can see the results of what they're doing, the terror that they're reaping on the American public right now, the schools, the churches, and just in general in our neighborhoods and in our government. These people are off, abnormal, and something needs to be done about them. I don't know if they're ever going to do it, because it would be most of the ones that are walking around here calling themselves white Americans, I would think. So I don't think that they're going to build an institution, put almost 80% of them in it. So so I've learned that you have to keep the faith, you have to be willing to fight, you have to be willing to sacrifice, and you really have to stand your ground. When we created this coalition of people that wanted to fight for Bruce's Beach, we had to weed out a lot of people, because a lot of people had self-interest at heart rather than being pure in wanting to get justice for these people. And you have to have someone there who's seasoned enough to be able to say, no, you got to go. We had people there that wanted to accept contributions, monetary contributions from people. And people say, well, you're crazy. You don't want monetary contributions. I said, no, you're crazy if you do, because as soon as you take that money, it'll be something in the newspaper that somebody mishandled that money or misused it, whether we did or not. So we don't want any money. You know, now you want to give us some help, give us your behind on the street or something like that, fine. But we don't want any money. You want money, you take it, you go somewhere else, but don't say that the Bruce family took it. And I think they did go somewhere else and take the money, but you know, it didn't involve us. So you know, the main thing is to, you know, you gotta be pure in what you're trying to do. That's when the spirit helps you. You know, you're not gonna get spiritual help because you want money. You know, some people say, "Oh, God gave me this money." No, He didn't. Okay, that's not what God is about. God gave you the opportunity to give it, and He blessed you in a way that made it easy for you to get that money, possibly, if it was easy.
And you know what? This is also like what I'm learning is that it sounds like a battle of dark versus light energy.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Absolutely. Good against evil. Simple as that.
Mm-hmm. And light will. No, go ahead, Chris.
Oh no, that's okay. Brian, what were you going to say?
I was going to say that's the whole battle that we almost face in the beginning, but light in the end will always prevail. Yeah,
in one way or another. It may not prevail in the way we think it should, but it will prevail in for the best. Sometimes it remains to be seen years down the road that losing what we thought was the best thing to do was the best thing to happen. You know, you just never know. It's just like with the transfer of the land, you know. What people think is a loss has actually been a gain for the family. They're able to use that money and buy something somewhere else for a lot, you know, more than what Willa paid for that land there. But they'll be building generational wealth. They're going to buy homes. These people didn't have homes. You know, one of the great grandsons didn't even have a car. You know, so you know, I mean,
wow.
You know, these are things that's going to change. But now they'll be able to buy, you know, property, and they'll be able to use it to build generational wealth, which was what we wanted for them to have.
Exactly.
And that's incredible. I love that, because ultimately in the end, you know, people are going to have their opinions about what they think you should have done. But ultimately, it's in the end, it's about doing what you need to do for your families and that's saying, right. how do we turn this into a positive? And I'm so glad that ultimately in the end, that is what you did. And I'm glad you're speaking about this and talking about the process, because I don't think most people understood the process. They just said, oh, they're giving the land back. No, I think it was a lot more involved than that. And I'm so glad that you are explaining that to us today.
And more than, I would say 90% of the people commenting weren't even around while we were trying to fight for that land. I mean, Black Enterprise magazine never did an article on Bruce's Beach. You know, there were other entities who are out here speaking now. You know, we never heard from them. You know, and it's unfortunate that the major white press picked it up, of course, because it was controversy and they could sell soap, you know, because I was raising hell, you know, so you know, on national television and international television, but it brought attention to our plight, and the right people, the like you said, the light side of humanity stepped up and helped us, and we got what we had asked for, demanded. We didn't ask for it, we demanded it.
That's right. Wow.
Wow. Brian, do you have any other additional questions? It is incredibly powerful. Incredibly.
It's a sign of resilience. It shows that if you don't give up, you will get what you want. You know, in the beginning, it said there was a word, and there was the word, and when God spoke, not in form, it gave order and balance. And so we too have the same power, because we are of the same breath and that same energy that gave forth in the beginning, and it commanded. And so we should command also whatever we desire.
We're the vicegerents. We're his vicegerents here on earth. We are supposed to be in command. We have allowed the devil to take over out here. And this is why some of us suffer what we suffer, because we haven't done our jobs or aren't doing our jobs. And keeping that devil under control.
Chief, one last, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Chief, one last question. We know that you're short on time and you have so much to do. So what are your lasting words for those who are in this struggle and trying to also fight for their land and fight for reparations and things of that nature? What are your parting words for us today?
Get yourself organized. Get yourself organized. Get yourself organized. Gather your paperwork together. Have it in order. Have it in files where you can show it to people, not all over the room and everything like my stuff is here right now. Pardon me. But have it organized. Have your pitch organized. So when you talk to attorneys and public officials and people like that, your demand is distinct, and it's short, and it's right to the point. And you're going to get a lot more help. You got to come to people, and you got a 10, 15 diatribe before you even get to the point of even showing people the documentation that you have. You're not going to get a lot of help, but people don't have time these days to listen to long, drawn out stories. And that was one thing that people had admired about me, and I'm not bragging, is that I came to them with short requests to get things done. You know, not no long curriculum that they had to go through to figure out what it is that we wanted. And so that's the main thing. And then to work with people who are pure. I mean, even if it's a family member, someone doesn't seem right, or they seem like their intentions are not correct, get them out of your circle, okay? And watch taking that money, okay? That those donations are not good for you. I don't care who gives it to you. It's going to come back that you mishandled that money. Get people to work with you pro bono if you can. And there are people out there that will, but you're going to have to stick to it and do the research, and you just can't do it once every month. This is something you have to do every day if you're going to be successful. You got to live it and breathe it.
Well, thank you so much. We are so happy that things worked out for the family in the end. And I'm excited to see what's next.
Yeah, I am.
And this was a major victory. And Chief Duane, we will be talking to you again, getting updates, hearing more about your journey as well.
All right.
And we're so excited for you. Thank you so much today for making time.
Thank you. I appreciate you all having me back. Take care.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.